What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. Kind of a crazy night tonight. I saw earlier on Twitter.com, and I guess I'll go there first. That umbrella guy, who is a YouTuber, was doing a stream tonight, and on his stream he advertised that it was going to be an open mic tonight, of course, for Comicsgate. Any creator. Now, this doesn't qualify Comicsgate or anything. Come and pitch 2 to 5 minutes, people doing commissions. I'll look at the turnout and see if this should continue weekly. If you want it, boost it and be there. Now, this is very interesting. So, just from a logistical standpoint, as a YouTuber or as a content creator, you'll find that a lot of times that signal boosting projects and things like that, and just being positive and talking about things you like, does not get you very many clicks. I'm going to show you right now what I'm talking about on a small scale, because it is a reality. I worked for an outfit called the Federalist for a while, and they were very excited whenever I had any sort of Hollywood drama or just anything like that. Something about Taylor Swift, just any sort of celebrity sort of gossip. They would love, and they'd love for me to write an article about it real quick. They'd be all about it. Anytime I was like, hey, can we promote this like TV show? Orson Scott Card's got a TV show through BYU TV and nobody knows about it, and I'd love to just talk positively about it. That article took me a year to get published through them, and I didn't get paid for it. So I had to push, and it's a really tough thing, and it's a stark reality. If you look at it right here, you'll see on the microcosm level why. Now, the Federalist is, when I wrote an article for them, would get 1 million plus clicks if it was a Taylor Swift article. The Orson Scott Card one, of course, did not get many clicks. I don't know exactly how many. They didn't tell me on that one. But what I've got here on my YouTube's micro level, I've got Thinking Critical. This guy, Wes, was just being rude to me the other day. And so I just made a video about it. And look at how many clicks it got. Even though Wes is not a celebrity, nobody really knows nor cares about that guy. He's pretty irrelevant in the scheme of things. I got a ton of views. I just talk about a book I like, Star Wars Epic Collection Review, 38 views, right? You see the difference. It's a magnitude of 10, right? People are curious about Steve Ditko because he's a semi-celebrity who's controversial. That's why this got some clicks. Supergirl, 33 views. Twitter goes wild over Neil Gaiman, 400 views. So you see the pattern, right? And so Tug really is disincentivized, Tug being that umbrella guy, to make a video or a live stream of just creators talking. And especially talking about projects and not having anything drama related or anything like that. And he talked about this several times in the stream, and he did it on Twitter also. He's like, look, if you want this, you have to show up and be there. And I did notice his stream got a lot less viewers than his typical streams do. And towards the end, it really bowed out. People didn't stay for it because people hang out and stay for the drama on YouTube. That is honestly 100% of what's true. Same with Twitter. It's really a cancerous environment, and it's a bummer. But people like Tug have to make a living, and they understand this. And Tug is actually very good at getting this algorithm going for understanding. You see how his views they make mine look silly. But look at how the titles do it. So Star Wars ruined. People don't really care about that anymore. It's kind of a tired topic. Johnny Depp, this is a big celebrity topic. So look what it gets. So this is the incentive of what to do. Now, Tug used to be kind of a comic book review channel, much similar to mine. He would talk about things within comics and things within art that he liked and didn't. And of course, that didn't take off very well. It doesn't grow with the numbers. But when you do things like this, you get these beautiful thumbnails with giant, bright letters that stand out. Plus, you get the celebrity deal. You get a lot of clicks. And that is how YouTube works. It's also how news works. So like I said, the Federalist works the same way. This is not casting a judgment or anything like that. It's just the stark reality of things. But tonight he did hold a open mic night, as you see with the little deal right here, which I clicked away from, and had creators on for 2 to 5 minutes. And that's the background for what's going on. So, of course, I did a little rabble rousing about whether I'd be allowed on or not. And I went in and I started talking in the chat. And his chat, because of the way that Ethan Van Sciver and his, just harassment squad has demonized me and just said awful things about me on repeat, just was very, very hostile to me. They just called me nasty names, said awful things to me on repeat. The moderators banned me from commenting in the channel at some point. And to Tug's major credit, I DM'd him about this on Twitter, and he took care of it. He got them to stop banning me. He let them go at me, but he won't go all the way into what's right against the audience, because he's very focused on his audience here. But he did, to his credit, stop them from banning me and the like, so I could actually comment again. And I got in the actual stream, and I went in, and this is the fun part, I guess. And I was just cordial, and I've done this before. And I've tried to make a habit of doing this, because my intent at the end of the day is to really promote indie comics and just be an advocate for indie comics. I don't really care about much else at this point. And I'm producing indie comics on a monthly level. You can, of course, check those out. We'll talk about those kind of at the end of the video. Hit the like and subscribe button, by the way, if you're enjoying this. It's a good little analysis of how YouTube works. But I went in, and I just said, look, I'm just making comics. I'm trying to come out with comics monthly. I'm trying to be an alternative to the mainstream industry. I'm happy for everybody's success. And I did this before once. What happened was Ethan Van Sciver had a similar open mic night. And it's weird, because Ethan will call me every 3 or 4 months and be like, you have to join Comicsgate and, be part of the team and all that. And I always say, I'm happy to be about comics, be about promoting comics, share the love, all that. But that's not what Ethan means by that. Ethan means, you follow his direct orders and stay on the narrative and all that, which I'm not. That's not my forte. I'm not good at that, right? I always speak my mind. I always speak the truth, and even if it's going to hurt me, I'll speak the truth. So, and that doesn't work for Ethan's program. So when I did that, Ethan did a whole diatribe about how I don't really love comics and I'm not really here for comics. I mean, it was really ridiculous. I mean, if you look at my channel, which is comic books, that obviously was a response to this guy's actions. Comic books, gaming, comic book writing, it's all I do. So it's ridiculous that he attempted to get his crowd to not check out my books just because he wanted to rile things up, even though I was very nice. But I did this on Tug Stream also, and I'm happy to talk to anybody. And that's what I always tell people is like, look, I'm here for comics. I'm here for indie comics, and I want a movement of indie comics that are good, and I want them to succeed and flourish and try all these different distribution alternatives, etc. That's what I'm here for. I support that. While a lot of these guys have said those words over the course of these last few years, very few of them actually acted out and actually care about it. So they're always stunned when somebody stays on message for that, because it's not the drama message that they're always trying to sell. They can't sell their books based on like book quality or just an interesting story, or for the most part. So they always do it basing on attacking other creators and things like that. So that's what we get from those channels, and they're incentivized to. It makes them tons of money. They are doing it better than I am. I'm staying true, I guess, to my principles, and they're staying true to building audiences a lot faster and a lot bigger than I can, and making a lot more money than I can doing it this way. But I want a readership at the end of the day that is here for reading. I don't want them here because they're trying to gotcha somebody for Johnny Depp's sake or something like that, because I don't think that lasts very well long term. And it also doesn't allow you to keep being creative and have creative freedom, or get off message for narratives, for example. So that's that. So tonight did the same thing. I went on Tug and I was like, hey, just about comics. Glad to be here, etc. Told him I'm happy for his success. And I was met with like a kind of stunned reaction from the panel. The panel was expecting me to be combative and attacking, which I always tell people I never am. Part of the reason I get attacked by this crew so much is they know I'm not a uh, very combative person. I mean, I'll jab a little bit back, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I hold Christian values, and so and those values are forgiveness and love, and that's what it is. So I will try to act that way towards everyone as much as I possibly can. Of course, my buttons get pushed, and I that happens. But at the end of the day, I'll be friends with everybody. I don't care. And that's the difference between me and a lot of these guys who get really upset and just like point those tribal fingers over and over again. So they're expecting me to do that because that's how they act. And it was just stunned silence from the panel for a bit. Very interesting. And I won over one of the panelists who was very mad at me in the chat and said I was saying some bad things. I don't know what I said. And then started DMing with me on Twitter. So, you know, maybe I'll have a new friend out of it because I'm just being a polite adult, right? So Tug was polite. Tug said, "Hey, look, I said this was going to be an open channel, and I said people are going to be able to promote their projects." And he was true to his word, and I appreciate that. And he's like, "Look, John and I have never fought. I mean, we did once, but that's it. We've just been cool." And you know, he went into a little of the drama stuff, you know, for the audience sake, because the audience doesn't want to know I'm a human and doesn't want to know that I'm not this like nameless, faceless person for them to yell at. So he can only go so far. But you know, overall, it was completely cordial. It was good, and I want to encourage more of this. So people always tell me, you know, why would you do this? Why would you go hang with this and blah 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 blah. Well, at the end of the day, my goal is not to just fight with YouTubers all day long. That is a big headache. It slows down my writing. It's not very fun. If Tug's going to get along with me and be super nice to me, I'm going to be super nice to Tug. That's just how it's going to go. If his guest who's being cool with me now is cool, and I'll be cool also. It's pretty simple. And that's how I've always acted. And I tell everybody up front, this is how I operate. So I don't know why they get surprised when they come at me with really nasty name calling or death threats or whatever, and then I respond negatively. Obviously, I'm going to respond negatively in those situations. But this was not that kind of situation. It was actually pretty good. And I'm really kind of sad about it. And here's why. Because I watched the whole thing. There really was not a bunch of drama, other than in the chat. The people were very rude to me. A lot of the moderators there, because they've just been poisoned against me by Ethan and by a couple other people. But if you look at the view counts, this is going to not get anywhere near the view counts of the drama videos, which means he's not going to have much of an incentive to do it again. And that's what we got to change about our culture. People need to start clicking on the stuff that's not just the crazy drama stuff. You're going to click on this because I'm going to put a nice clickbait title about going on Tug, and everybody's going to rubberneck and want to know what happened and whether we're fighting. Guess what? We're not fighting. There's no drama to be had here. It was all good. And that's honestly just the problem with our culture. It's the problem with our news clicking habits. It's a problem with our YouTube and Twitter clicking habits. And I keep saying it needs to change. So the only way to make it change is to be positive when things are positive. I appreciate tonight. And even though this is not going to sell me any books, I mean, his audience was never going to go buy my book. I mean, they just hate me. So they don't care whether my book's the best. None of them care about that. They have a very tribal mentality with all of this stuff. And it's a bummer because we originally got into this whole situation to try to fight that and just kind of be about having fun with comics back when we started. And I'm still there, but a lot of these other guys, not so much. But so obviously I was not going to get any sales out of that. I don't know why the audience thinks I was trying to get sales. I am very much looking at this from a different perspective. And that is, look, I go in there and I just talk about comics, which is what this is supposed to be. Don't have any fights, don't have any problems. And yet everybody just reacts like angry, must be outraged. And I'm trying to show that cognitive dissonance and just how the mob reacts just based on hearing a name. Like if you look, and it's just because of the way a lot of these videos are done and stuff like this, like Brie Larson playlist. I mean, just saying Brie Larson's probably going to upset, a portion of the viewers right now. Like, but why? Why do you care about some, what is she, a 20-year-old girl, 25-year-old girl? Like, why does she matter to you? She shouldn't. She shouldn't get you outraged, but she does. And I try to highlight that because I think for people to be able to see it and identify it is the first step to being able to stop it in themselves, and the first step to being able to build a group that's not in those realms. So hopefully this does that a little bit. Don't leave comments down below knocking Tug and calling him a bad person. If you do that, I'm going to delete your comments and ban you from the channel, because that is not the takeaway from this video. The takeaway should be the opposite of that. And yeah, I wish Tug went on and was a little stronger about it and was like, John's my friend. And I wish he said the same thing as I just said for his sake, because that's how I would like to be treated. And, you should treat people how you would like to be treated in general. But I also understand that this is his core business. This is not my core business. I do this for fun. And, all my stuff's on Amazon for the most part. So it doesn't matter. The whole personality YouTube thing to me as much. I'm growing an audience, but it's not my core, right? And so he doesn't want to mess with his core business, and I understand that. But as it goes along, we're going to keep trying to interact and keep trying to make sure that we're present on larger platforms and things like that. And that people can see the books, because that's what's important at the end of the day. And I've got a book on Indiegogo right now before we close it's called Robotoid Wrecked Manlet. And it is a monster story, just in the tradition of Steve Ditko, in the tradition of classic comics. If you love monsters, if you love just crazy robots causing hijinks and damage and all that, and obviously a Ninja Turtle vibe. I mean, there's a homage page to the Ninja Turtles, of course. You will absolutely love this book. It will be fun. Even if you look at the title here and go, oh, this is obviously a joke. The comic is not a joke. It's going to be a good comic, and people are going to be very, very pleasantly surprised when they read this. So back it today. Make sure to support actual comics and actual creators who are doing things to change the industry and really building something like I'm doing. I've got a monthly book coming out, which very few people can say on the indie level, especially on the crowdfund level. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button again, and I will be back. Love to hear from you. What do you think? Is it a waste of my time to try to show what the right way to do things, or is this a good path? All right.